So the Nexus 6P was announced in September of 2015, and pre-orders were able to be pre-ordered slightly after that. So by the time I got this device in my hand, it was like November. So if we do some complex math, December, March, what? December, January, February, March, April, May. So it's been 6 months since then. And there's just a few things I want to point out about the Nexus 6P. Obviously, it has stock Android, so what you would expect, the device is running buttery smooth. It's still really amazing. The software is the best part of this device. The hardware, not so much. I'm not a fan at all. To begin with, the visor, that's been said before. It's hit or miss for some people. Some people like it. Some people don't. Some people like it more in person. Some people just put up with it for a Nexus device. My biggest gripe with this thing is the metal of this device, I think, is cheap. Because as of right now, there's like at least 3 dents in the back. And also to point out, the power button is so like not tactile anymore. You can barely even press it with your finger. So it's like you'd have to use your fingernail to turn it on. So I don't know what happened there. Who knows? And just in comparison, the HTC 10 that recently came out, even though it's a much smaller device, as you can see, just kind of like side by side, but the HTC 10 feels so much heavier in the hand. The weight is very nice. You can tell the weight in this metal is really good, and then the weight in the Nexus 6P isn't. It's almost like Huawei used the amount of metal in the HTC 10 and put it into the Nexus 6P, but just kind of like stretched it out. They were like, okay, we can only deal with this much metal, so we need to cut costs because it's a Nexus device, so we're expected to sell it for cheap, so yeah. What I wish Huawei would have done, instead of selling the devices starting at $499, I wish they would have started them at $599 or $699, but made the build quality like top notch, really good metal feel, like really heavy, really nice in the hand, super tactile buttons. I mean, like I mentioned this before, this is not an LG phone. The HTC 10, the buttons are really tactile. I love them. And then the Huawei device, they're not very tactile. I mean, even the power button is textured, but it's barely textured. The original Nexus 6 did a better job at that. The original Nexus 6, did I even print? The original Nexus 6 had a better power button than this one. So, I don't know. That's why I'm so excited, because HTC should be the one making the next Nexus devices, which is amazing because I'm a huge fan of the HTC 10. In a way, it even feels like a Nexus device right now just because it has that stock Android. So hopefully they're getting some really good practice. Also, props to HTC as well because they released an update. So if you have the unlocked HTC 10, you're going to get updates almost as fast as the Nexus device anyway. And that's really it there. Once again, the Nexus 6P is a great device. The sound and the speakers on the Nexus 6P is probably better than the HTC 10, but the build quality is what's getting me. I cannot forgive that. When you hold your phone every day, it needs to feel like a very intimate experience. When you pick it up, you should just love that feeling, and it's not there with the Nexus 6P. And for that reason, which I hate to do this, but we actually have a case on it. So we have the Spigen Beetle case, which we use the Nexus 6P in. And what this is doing, it's basically helping prevent any future dents. And it also seems to make the power button a little bit more tactile, believe it or not. So, like I said, I don't recommend cases, but since the Nexus 6P has subpar build quality, if you want to keep the device in mint condition, I would consider getting a case. And I'm trying to put this thing back in the case, but I'm having trouble. Like, you would think I would know what I'm doing, but I'm not. Hold up. So there's the Nexus 6P in the Spigen Beetle case. I mean, it does make the build quality much sturdier in the hand, and the power button is a little bit clickier with the help of the case. But like I said, I don't like cases, but this is what I have to do with the Nexus 6P. If you're the type of person that, puts your phone in your back pocket, or the type of person that wears tight jeans, there is a real risk of the Nexus 6P denting or even slightly bending in your pocket. That whole hype thing that was done it wasn't even out a year, about 6 months ago, that was real. And be sure to let me know in the comments below, do you have a Nexus? Let me know in the comment section below, do you have a Nexus 6P? Is it holding up well for you? I've had people comment that it's my fault because I didn't have a case on the device. But like I've said before, we use phones without cases as tech reviewers to test the long-term durability of the device. The Nexus 6P does not have long-term durability without a case. So that's a good thing for me to note. And while I still got your attention, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. We're at 8,228 subscribers right now. So hopefully by the time you're watching this, we have even more. But go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's somewhere around me, depending on where you're watching. If you're watching on a computer, it's down there. If you're watching on your phone, it's down there, I think. Just click down there. Have a good night. Bye.